we interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome to Vikings Uncensored. Thank you for sticking with us. Apologize for the having to reschedule the show from the weekend, but apparently Brunswick drank the water when he was down in Tijuana. So,
yeah, man, I was not feeling up to task at all whatsoever. And I would hope so. I would fucking hope so.
No, it's just Jim from accounting is the only one that sits in on those top 30 visits,
Right.
Ant. So,
Right.
yeah, all the coaches are in on that. That at least the guys for that position now. Josh McCown's probably not sitting in on too many defensive lineman top 30 visits, but
Well, no, I would imagine it probably comes down to prospects.
yeah, your position
Well,
coach, the position coaches, your coordinators, and most likely KOC's there for a lot of them too, I would think. But
good time, Drew. I had a hell of a good time down there. You know, I went down for 10 days, but I felt like I was only down there for 3. Seriously, it went by so quick. So I'm hoping to head down again in October.
Sweet. Good evening, all you guys. The OGs are in the house. Drew's here, Doc's here, Josh is here, Norris is here, Ant is here. Thank you guys all for sticking with us and joining us again tonight. We're talking defensive tackles tonight, as a very large position of need.
I don't know, Rhino, if you got a handful of miscellaneous guys too, the positions that we didn't talk about lead up to the draft, but I got a handful of guys as well that
we can hit that. I know, like last week again, big shout out to Drew Bunting for joining me while Lance was out on his vacation. We did the secondary guys last week.
Love having Drew on the show at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the fountain of knowledge overfloweth there with the work Drew does on his big board. So again, thank you, Drew, for joining last time. And
Rhino, maybe we need to try something a little bit different this year and try to get some of these guys that have been watching the show for so long for a couple spots. You know?
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool. Get some more guests on here, even if they're the fans that watch the show. Get Doc on here, and maybe Norris or whatever. Just sitting with us every once in a while. It's a thought process for all you guys, and for us as well.
I mean, we pride ourselves on being the most interactive podcast out here for the Vikings. So yeah, that's a good idea. So
absolutely. So keep your ears and eyes open for that. For those of you out watching, maybe this season coming up, we'll do a fan spotlight throughout the year.
Drew needs to come on more. Drew has an open invitation to be on the show anytime he wants to. So
get in here, Drew.
But yeah, so before we get into the defensive tackles, I'll let you hit. Norris, awesome. We'll have you on. We'll definitely have you on at some point in time here.
Absolutely. Anybody out there that watches on the regular is welcome on the show. So
yep. So why don't you hit your, before we get into that, let's talk about, there's a couple of guys that are out there they've been talking about a little bit. The biggest name out this week that the New York Giants and Dexter Lawrence reaching an impasse. Lawrence says he is not going to, he's demanded a trade and is not going to show up for off-season activities.
I kind of hit you with that question here a couple days ago, and you said
Yeah.
just to wait till the show comes on. But I don't know. I'm getting to the point right now where these guys aren't getting any younger, Rhino.
No, Dexter Lawrence
So
is. I think he'll be 29 this season.
so he's just hitting probably the tail end of his prime at this point.
Yeah,
2 years ago, he would have been right
two
right in
two
the
years.
middle.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 years ago, yes, and the timing right now is terrible. I mean, if this team was a player the caliber of Dexter Lawrence away from a Super Bowl contender, I would say yes, go do it. Get him in here, get it figured out. But this team is not a defensive tackle away from the Super Bowl.
Well, as far as we could see from the outside looking in, anyways, right? Um, I'm not going to say any team ain't Super Bowl worthy because every year is a new year and everybody wins
Right. Well,
different amounts
yeah,
of games. But I'm not going to be sipping on the purple Kool-Aid too much. But
the purple drank.
the purple drink. But yeah, I mean, at this point in his career, like I said, maybe 2 years ago, I would have been really excited about the thought of Dexter Lawrence coming here.
Well, we were because there was
We had talked about
the
it.
trade about it back a couple years ago, and we talked about it. But
But now he's 29, probably at the tail end of his prime, still asking for a shit ton of money.
well, and that's why he doesn't want to come back to the Giants. He's still got 2 years left on his deal, but he wants an adjustment on his
Extension.
contract because I think his guaranteed money is pretty much up. But
Right, not saying that the guy still can't play at a high level, but how many more years of that can you squeeze out of him? And when does the injury bug finally catch up to Dexter
well, and
Lawrence?
he did miss some time last year, so
Because I mean, at this point right now, he's getting into the Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen territory of his career.
I mean he's still 3 years behind those guys. So I mean,
yeah.
I would say Dexter Lawrence has definitely got a couple of good years left in him, but that those couple
For
of
that
good
money, though, Rhino.
yeah.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to is the money for me.
Right. And this is exactly right here, Drew. We are still one of the oldest teams in the NFL.
We're on the same page here. Absolutely.
Yep. And to what Ant said here too, better off drafting a defensive tackle.
And
I would
there is
agree.
some good talent here in this year's draft, which
Right.
we're about to hit on.
Yeah, which we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes. But I just wanted to bring the Dexter Lawrence thing up. There are a couple other guys out there that could be brought in on the cheap to fill in, which I think they'll wait until after the draft and see what happens, and then maybe
Which
some of those
makes the
guys.
most sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, before we hit the tackles, you said you had a few.
Let's hit those. I want to hit that last. My
Hit that
miscellaneous
last. All right.
guys.
Okay. So let's start with the defensive tackles then.
And as soon as you say the guys, if I have them on my list, I'll pipe up and let you know.
All right. So, a couple of guys here that aren't going to be available for the Vikings, so we're not even going to worry about Kendrick Falk out of Auburn. Reuben Bain, who's more of a 4-3 defensive tackle, maybe an edge guy, I think, could be up there.
I don't got either of those guys on my list.
Yeah, well, they're going top 10, so they're not even going to be in our
Yeah.
list. So, first guy I have on the list, 6'2", 298 out of Clemson, Peter Woods.
I got him at 4 on my list.
You have him at 4? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know
I'll tell you why once I let you get your bid in.
Woods has fallen down the draft boards a little bit, but a lot of the reason why that is, I believe, is because with the defensive scheme that they ran at Clemson last year, their defensive coordinator was huge on pushing, stay in your lanes, do your gaps, all this other stuff. They weren't allowed any kind of movement, freelancing, whatever. And then with injuries, they actually had him moving out and playing edge rusher for a good part of the season too. So
It's very out of position for that guy.
it is.
Big guy.
But I mean, just looking at his stats, if you go back to 2024, that's where he really shined out. But for his career, he's got 99 tackles, 14 and a half tackles for loss, and 5 sacks out of 1,252 snaps. He also has 8 carries for 15 yards and 2 touchdowns on offense.
That's pretty cool.
I mean,
That's pretty cool. So he's
got
part-time fullback.
Yeah, he's a very explosive first step. He's on that freakishly athletic. The motor continues to run, but
Am I right up on My little write up. I got like a few sentences here. Right,
Sure,
let me
go
put up
ahead.
real quick.
Yep.
Um, the reason why he's number 4 is his production it dropped off as the season rolled on. It's not like it was in 2024 as well. He's got a nice big body and frame, quick, gets off the ball really well. Nice combination of power and speed and strength, but he also disappears at times and needs to find a level of consistency, in my opinion. And that's why I got him at
Yeah,
4.
and like I said, a lot of that to me had to do with the system this year. But because if you look further back than this year, a lot of that isn't a thing. But I understand where you're coming from. Drew's got
Yep, I
him at
got him
number
at 4
three on the
here.
big
Yeah.
board. Yeah. Okay, so on this one, Ant, I'm going to argue that we need 2 defensive tackles. We need somebody in the middle, yes, but we also need somebody opposite Jalen Redmond on the outside
We
because
need a good combination of defensive tackles, a good team. Like how we had the Williams Wall, and then we
right.
had a couple of other, with Pet. Gosh, I can't. My mind is going blank. But we had the Williams guys that can play off of one another very well with communication.
Right. The big goon, and you had some of these other guys out there.
Jerry Ball and John Randall,
Yeah.
very good together. Pat and Kevin, the Williams Wall, Pat and Kevin Williams. I mean,
Henry
guys that play
Thomas.
well together.
Those guys like that, yep.
You know,
All right, second guy I have on my list, 6'2", 326 nose tackle out of Ohio State, Caden McDonald.
I got him at 2
Got him at
as
2?
well.
All right. He only became a starter in 2025, but he has racked up 65 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Unanimous All-American Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year. He's a great character guy off the field. He's huge into the charities and that kind of stuff. Shows up in the big games under the lights.
Yes.
Elite run defender. Now his big knock is his pass rush ability is kind of limited.
It's funny.
But,
Some of the stuff that you're saying, I got as well. I'm not right up too. So,
all right, what else you got on him?
Just a guy that sets the tone. On the defensive side of the ball. Great when it comes to stuffing the run. Does need to work on his pass rushing skill set and his abilities as well. But is a tone setter on defense. Probably the second best, in my opinion, probably the second best run defender in this draft against the run.
Yeah. No, he's a hell of a run defender, and we've talked about this ever since Brian Flores showed up and started. Well, even before that, when we moved to a 3-4 defense, that you need that big, nasty, space-eating nose tackle in there that's just going to blow the shit out of everything.
Especially when we have weeks where our run defense can disappear.
Right.
In the past.
But if you want that, Cade McDonald is a guy that fits that bill very nicely.
Yes, he is definitely, like I said, one of the top 3 run stuffers coming out this year for sure.
Disgusting Act. Good evening, my friend. Welcome
with
into
the
show.
high ceiling. With the high ceiling when it comes to his ability to develop his pass rush as well.
Yeah, because like I said, he only became a full-time starter last year, so he's still got room to grow there. But I mean, you don't really ask for a ton of pass rush out of your nose tackle. You ask for a guy that can collapse the pocket and a guy that can plug up the holes in the run game. So,
right.
All right, next guy on the list, and this guy actually is probably moving up a little higher than my list is not exactly how I have him ranked, but this next guy on the list here has really shown out in at the Combine, at the Senior Bowl, and everything else. But Lee Hunter, 6'4", 318, nose tackle out of Texas Tech.
This is my 5th guy on my list. This is my last
guy. He played at UCF before transferring to Texas Tech. 23 tackles for loss as a junior, 20 as a senior, 4.5 sacks. He's got a huge wingspan. He's almost 7-foot wingspan.
This is the guy that's my best run defender in this
Yeah.
class.
Great leverage, but they're here again, limited pass rush ability. But I mean, like he said he did have 4.5 sacks as a senior, so he does have some ability.
And you know what? He might be exactly what Flores wants in this defense at defensive tackle.
Lee Hunter is a guy that I think you keep your eye on on the Vikings watches.
And like I said, he might be the one guy from defensive tackle that Flores has a hard on for. Probably, like I said, he's probably the best defensive tackle in this class when it comes to stopping the run. Can take on multiple blocks, which is something Flores is huge on. You get those blocks taken up so you can let your pre-banana linebackers come in and do the dirty work.
Yeah.
And he also is able to set the tone on defense as well.
He does the kind of stuff that Javon Hargrave was pissed that he had to do last year.
Bingo, Rhino. Spot on. Spot on with that take.
Yeah, and Drew, that's great comment right there with the damn it.
Yeah, we both clicked at the same time.
All right, since we've gone into my 3, who's your number 1 guy? Let's throw him up there.
I think we got all my guys down. Nope, I got 2 left.
Okay.
Christian Miller out of Georgia is my number 1 guy.
Really?
Yes. All around a great skill set. He might not be the best fit for the Vikings, but as far as talent goes, I got Miller at the top.
Okay.
All around great skill set when it comes to the pass rush and the run. A ton of energy out of this guy. He is massive, big hands, read and react guy. A do-it-all defensive tackle. You can move this guy up and down the defensive line throughout the game. So, and he's out of Georgia, the defense there in Georgia. So, yeah, Christian Miller at the top of my list as far as defensive tackles go.
Okay. So then I got several more here we'll go through while we're at it. But next guy I have on my list, and this, again, isn't necessarily where I would pick him, but Caleb Banks, the 6'6", 330 nose tackle out of Florida.
I got him at 3.
Okay. 48 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles in his career. He's got some position flexibility, but the biggest thing with Caleb Banks is his injury concerns. He missed most of last year, tried to come back, worked for a little bit, broke his ankle again, I believe it was, at the Senior Bowl.
And then tweaked something again at the Combine.
Yeah, he's had foot issues. And when you've got a 330-pound guy with foot issues, that's a major red flag for me.
Yeah.
I like Caleb Banks' game a lot.
The talent is there.
But the injury concerns, I mean, if he's still sitting there in the 4th round, yeah, I would definitely take him at that point in time.
No, but the injury bug concerns me as well before the draft.
It just, I mean, you and I aren't small guys. We know how it goes. When you have an injury with something in your lower body, and you have that kind of weight on you, it doesn't get better.
To discuss the Axe defense, if it wasn't for the injury concerns, Caleb Banks would be my number 1 rated defensive tackle.
Yeah, he'd be probably my number 1 or number 2.
Tremendous amount of upside with Banks.
Yep. Yeah, this is exactly right here, Drew. The guy is, I mean, the talent is there, the physical ability is there, but it's just that when you start having lower body injuries when you're that big, it's a major red flag for me.
I've been following you here, Blunt, and it's been all Mexican drinks since we started the show.
Yep, I've been watching that too.
Wild card
all
over
right.
there.
Here's the next guy. And listen, this is a guy I like a lot. The man called Big Citrus, Dominic Orange, a 6'2", 322 nose tackle out of Iowa State.
Yeah, I touched on him a little bit, but I didn't go all in on Citrus. But I like the nickname for sure.
Yeah. Now, this is one guy. If you listen to Thor Nystrom, he's all over this guy. But 66 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 13 hurries in 50 games. That's a pretty good stat line for only 50 games. made to Feldman's Freaks list. The guy benched 450 pounds, squatted 650 pounds,
Corey
has a
Feldman's freak list.
34, huh?
Corey Feldman's freak list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has a 34-inch vertical jump. I mean, the guy has a lot of.
He's a project though, coming in.
I
I
don't
would
know
think
that
so.
he's not really a project, but here he's more of a run stuffing nose tackle. He's not a pass rusher.
Tijuana, George.
Huge guy in the middle of the DL, and
I mean, yeah,
right,
we
you're
since we
absolutely right
started
there,
the show,
Ryan.
Rhino.
We have not. And Drew mentioned this earlier. We have not had a true large
So it's
presence
Linval.
in the center since the Big
Linval.
Goon. Yeah.
Yeah, and then before that, what was it? The dude
Oh
that
well.
went to
What's
Cleveland,
it?
Tomlinson.
Yeah, not LaDainian Tomlinson, Dalvin Tomlinson. But it's been a few years since we've had that kind of presence up in there.
We haven't had a true nose tackle since we started the show, Rhino. And that was when
Now,
that was Linval's last year.
Tomlinson was here then.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
It's been a while.
okay. So just so we make Ant happy, the next guy on my list, 6'6", 315-pound out of Florida State, Daryl Jackson Jr.
Yes.
Another excellent run defender. Pass rusher is all good, Disgusting Act. Thank you for stopping in and joining us. Love having you as always. Yeah, Linval was asked to rush the passer on top of, and he could do it. That was the thing that was a cool thing with Linval. Linval is a hell of a good dude too. I got the pleasure of meeting him once, and he was doing an autograph signing up here in Fargo, and he was a hell of a nice guy.
I think we all remember his play that will never, die in our memories.
Yeah, fat man touchdown, and he's sitting there with the sunglasses and the oxygen mask.
Oxygen mask on, yeah. Classic. That belongs in NFL films for sure.
Yep. But yeah, Daryl Jackson Jr. Again had a little bit of a decline in performance from 24 to 25, but he's a guy that is probably their third, fourth round. Of course, we don't have a fourth round pick right now, but
That could change.
it could. Yeah, Ant's draft crush. Of course, he's a Florida State guy, so. I got three more guys on the list here that we'll talk about. Next guy on the list, another great nickname. They call him the Godfather, Dante Corleone.
Nice.
6'4", 340 nose tackle out of Cincinnati. This is one of the guys who loves doing that dirty work up in the inside that we talked about.
Where would you have Jackson ranked? Drew is wondering if you were to rank him on a list.
Yeah, I probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I have him about 6, 7 somewhere.
I would say about 5 or 6 too myself.
6,
He was one
7.
that just barely missed my list. So 6,
Yeah.
7.
6, 7. I don't know. But yeah, Corleone. In 2023, he had 39 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. Only played in 11 games in 2024. He had blood clots in his lungs.
Oh, I know how that goes.
So
I had that last year.
yeah,
Not
but
fun.
played 11 games, had 26 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks there. 2025, he had an ankle issue. Only played 10 games. Really high. He's a really high motor guy. When we're talking about
moves.
guys back in Vikings history, this guy reminds me a little bit of Jerry Ball. Just that big bowling ball type dude.
I love me some Jerry Ball.
I did too, but this is another thing like the Caleb Banks issue with me is, the injury concerns with Corleone are a major red flag. The blood clot things scares me on it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
potentially
you know what
very
though?
serious.
You know what though, Rhino? Redmond had blood clot issues too.
He did.
Redmond had blood clot issues too before he came to us.
Yeah.
which is why he basically got knocked out of the NFL was because of
Right.
those
Yeah, it
concerns.
was.
He was with Carolina, I think, on the practice squad for a minute there.
Yeah, and then he went to the UFL, and
Yep. And yeah,
now,
the big reason for that was because he had blood clot issues.
yeah.
So
Now
I had blood clot issues. This is why
Corleone's
I'm not in the
medicals.
NFL.
I don't know. I don't know that we've got a great thing back on the his medicals for this, and I think if he's getting a clear bill of stuff, I think he's a mid-round guy. He's not going to go in the first 3 rounds, nothing like that. But Norsefius
Well, you
has
know what? And this is not to say too much, but Daniil Hunter didn't go in the first 3 rounds either.
No, he
So
didn't.
sometimes your meat and potatoes are, especially I think in this draft, especially I think the meat and potatoes
Meat and
are
potato,
right
yeah, the
between
mid-round is where the
fucking-
best players are going to come out of this draft.
Yes, yes.
But no, I like Corleone, and like I said, if he gets a clean medical bill, I'd be more than happy to take him. Next guy on the list here, this is a guy that I've seen, and the more I watch him, the more I like him. 6'5", 313 out of Clemson, DeMonte Capehart.
Okay, this is a new name to me. This is
He doesn't have a ton of starting experience, so he's a little bit on the raw side, but he's quick. He's got really good hands, good anchor. Not a lot of stuff in the pass rush to this point, but
so he'd be a good developmental guy.
he's a developmental guy. He's not a guy that's going to step in there and start, but I think the kid's got a pretty high ceiling.
Okay.
He had one of the fastest defensive tackle 40 times at the combine. His RAS score was among the best for the interior defensive line in the last 40
If this was Questie's draft,
years.
there you go. If this was Questie's draft, he's getting taken for sure then.
Yeah.
He loved that RAS score.
He did, but I think there's something there with Capehart. It may take a little while to get him, but I really like this kid. The more like I said, the more I watch him, the more I like him.
Thanks, George. Appreciate that.
The last guy I got on my list, and this guy's a little bit of a flyer. 6'1", 280 defensive tackle out of Texas Tech, Skylar Gill Howard.
Okay, so this guy played right next to.
He played next to Lee Hunter. Yeah,
Yes.
Hunter would take up the stuff, but in
He was your
2020,
pass rushing specialist.
2024, he played in Northern Illinois. Had 51 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 29 pressures. Now in 2026, he only played 6-7 games, something like that. Had 9 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 6 quarterback hits, and he also had a 55-yard pick six.
Damn.
He's got some position versatility. He's a mentally tough guy, but he does have some injury concerns, which is why he only played 6 games last year. I think he's kind of would be in that same mold as Tyrone Ingham Dawkins kind of a thing.
Okay. Who could also come along sometime this year too?
Yeah.
He had a couple flashes last year.
He did.
Flashes in the pan last year.
And we got Levi Drake Rodriguez now. But right now those guys are depth pieces. They're not starters.
There's something that Ant said here as well that this might be if our guy isn't there in the first round, and if we feel like we're just throwing a pick out there, I think our best bet would be move back down a little bit. If Thiedeman's our guy and he's not there, or whomever else our top guy might be, if they're not there, this is the perfect draft to move back a little bit, I believe, and accumulate some picks in the mid rounds.
Well, and we'll see how that plays out here in a little bit when we do our mock draft for our one and only mock draft for the year. So we're going to put a new spin on it this year, but we'll let you guys know what's going on here in just a minute on that. Hunter and Gil Howard were the reason Texas Tech had the best rush defense in America. Yeah, it's exactly right. And
wow, that's a good little stat there. Pop in. I like that.
Ole Miss had a lot of good play. Yeah, they did. I didn't have any of the Ole Miss guys on here, but I had one other guy here. And this is a late round flyer. I missed this guy on the list here, but Chris McClellan, 6'4", 313 out of Missouri. He's a Florida transfer. In 2025, had 48 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 6 hurries, 2 pass breakups. Guy's a very good tackler. Consistently beats his one-on-ones. 8.5 sacks in the SEC. That's not a small feat.
Right, right.
He doesn't have a lot of pass rush moves, but you can build that repertoire as you develop a little bit too. So he's another guy that I don't think could be penciled in as a starter, but a developmental guy that they might look at in the 6th, 7th round, something like that. Drew's got him as his number 5. Oh wow.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. I didn't have him that high on the list, but I haven't watched a ton of tape on him, but I liked what I did see out of him.
Kind of going off of this comment here by Drew. This draft isn't really a top end, high end class.
No, it's not a superstar draft.
At any position in particular, really. I think then that's what leads me to believe that a lot of the talent's going to be in those mid rounds. So,
hey Brian, thanks for stopping by.
So yeah, I believe it's not a top end class. Like we had a couple of years ago where we had a ton of talent coming out of college.
No.
Or what's looking to be next year, where there'll be another.
Yeah, but there's a lot of the times you see that it's really top heavy. You've got 2 or 3 really good players at positions, and then it drops down after. Defensive tackle is probably the deepest position.
Center's going to drop too, which there's going to be some really good centers.
Yeah, there's no first or second round centers, but yeah, round 3 through 5, there's a lot of good centers in there, and the Vikings are in on a center this year.
The sleeper D tackle I like is probably Christian Miller. Is probably one of those guys. I mean, he's on a lot of lists as far as lists go, but doesn't get really talked about too much. Lee Hunter's another guy I really like that's kind of flying under the radar until the
yeah Hunter's come out of sleeper status. That's the problem.
Right?
Though.
Yeah.
Drew, for me, I think it's Capehart, but he's a guy that every time I do mock drafts, he's going anywhere from round 5, round 6, and
see the thing with the draft, Rhino, is you are a product of the attention that you get afforded.
Yeah.
There are so many players that could have had great careers that just didn't get looked at.
Yeah.
Honestly, throughout the history of the NFL, you are a product of the attention afforded to you. So,
Grayson Halton out of Oklahoma. I've been hearing a little buzz on him lately too. Did not put him on the list. But
here.
Charles, hey, good evening. Welcome to the show. Big Citrus. We talked about him a little bit earlier. I have him at, what the hell did I have him at, number 4 on my list? 1, 2, I had him at number 5 on my list. But yeah, I really like Big Citrus, especially as a space eater up in the middle. I think he's a guy on Vikings watch, to be honest with you. So,
keep an eye on George with the geology tonight.
Yep. Keep an eye on Tim Keenan from Alabama. I looked at him too, Drew. I didn't put him, or I didn't have him necessarily on the list, but yeah, I mean he's a guy that had what do you have? I think he had like 5 or 6 sacks in his.
You sound like Collinsworth.
Here's a guy.
You're right.
Hold on.
A guy.
I gotta do the Collinsworth slide in.
Right.
The thing with Tim Keenan that I have a little concern with is he's one of those guys that may have weight management issues in his career. At one time, he was playing at 380 pounds. Now he's down to 327 now.
Holy cow!
But
you can't play it that way. That's just so much stress on your body.
No, and that's a thing. And as somebody who's struggled with their weight their entire life, I know how hard. Even when you have all that stuff, you got these these guys. They have all the best facilities and everything else available. Right. So I give him all the credit in the world from going from 380 down to to 330. But it's a concern. But I mean, the guy can play.
Yeah.
But
If he could play at 380, imagine what he could do at 310, 320. That's just it.
yeah, but I mean, even at 320 to 330, that's perfect for a big interior nose
It
tackle, and
is. It
and he's
is.
got some pass rush skills. So I mean, he's a
And
guy
that
that
that could turn into something very good. I mean, if given the right care.
yeah.
So
But yeah, I know he's a guy that I've been looking at a little bit, Drew. But like I said, I just didn't put him on the list because some of that stuff just it it's kind of like an injury red flag. We've seen
well, they
that
had
in
the
some
guy
other
last
players
year.
too. That
What was his name? Farmer that went to Tampa Bay. That was like over 400 pounds.
yeah,
So,
something like that. I think, but
but he didn't really. I mean, I haven't heard much about him since, other than the fact that there was a 400-pound defensive tackle that was in the league.
yeah. All right, so
Mine's my penis.
they don't call me horse because I run fast. We'll put it that way.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
All right, so
Uh,
we're gonna run through our mock draft roundup here quick, and then we're gonna do our own mock draft at the very end. So,
should I throw my
oh yeah,
handful of players out there
throw
now?
your guys out there
Is that
first. Yeah,
okay? Can
yeah.
I do that?
The floor is yours, Mr. Brunswick. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot.
Uh, I got a handful of guys here that we didn't really have a chance to talk about, or I missed the show where they were talked about. Um, but I got a handful of guys here that where we didn't touch on their positions, which I think we only had a handful of positions that we talked about. More of what we consider needs for the team is what we covered.
Right.
So here's a list of guys. Who
Here's
I
some
think
guys.
exactly who I think we can kind of keep our eyes on a little bit. Um, Coming into the first round, a wild card for you guys, and we've been hearing about this one for maybe the last couple of weeks about being a wild card for the Vikings, and that is Sadiq out of Oregon, the tight end. Generational type of tight end. The last generational type of tight end that came out was Kyle Pitts here a few years ago, and I mean I'm still
So
kind
is
of
since Kyle Pitts was the unicorn? Is this the tunicorn?
right. But Sadiq out of Oregon is a one of a kind tight end. Would I be kind of upset if we took him at that high at 18? I mean, he's a hell of a talent.
Okay, I gotta respond to Norsefius' thing here really quick, but yeah, the whole Diana Rossini and apparently Mike Vrabel was giving Diana Rossini some inside her information. So
Yeah, inside her information.
right,
I want some inside her information.
that's all I'm gonna.
Fucking
That's all I'm gonna say.
misogynist. You
All I'm
fucking
gonna say about
misogynist
that.
over at Mike is Uncensored.
We're uncensored. We don't give a shit. Like the Man Show. If I could talk my wife into jumping on a trampoline behind us, we'd do that.
Nice. Oh, fuck. So okay, another a little group of I got a couple of guys here from a group that we never really talked about leading up to the draft, and my first one is Jadarian Price.
I love me some Jerian Price.
Loves running mate over there at Notre Dame. He would fit in right here. So it's kind of a quiet need for the Vikings. Who's that? A young back with some fucking young legs. Jadarian Price. Also Emmett Johnson.
And the best thing on Jadarian Price, the guy is probably the best kick returner to come out of the draft in the last several years too.
He reminds me a lot of Gibbs in a way. So, I mean, just that
Thor
shiftiness.
Nystrom compares him to Kenneth Walker, which
Okay.
if we could get a Kenneth Walker type running back, I'd be all in on that.
Right. And then I got Emmett Johnson. I'm
I like
okay
me some Emmett Johnson too, and
But
he's
he's
in Minnesota. He's one of us.
Yeah, right. He's one of us. But the thing with Emmett Johnson is he doesn't have that home run hitting ability, in my opinion. He's more of an Aaron Jones type of guy. He'll get you those chunk yards, but won't quite take it all the way. Somebody will catch him from behind eventually. But that's just me being picky with that. Not that I don't like him as a running back, but he's one of my guys to look at that we might be looking at. Coming up next, a very, very quiet need, inside linebacker, Hosea Trotter. Would be a guy I'd be taking a look at out of Mizzou. I mean, we got Cashman, we got Wilson, and then we got Pace, who lost his job to Wilson.
And Dan's throwing another linebacker on there, Anthony Hill Jr. Another guy I like quite a bit. Also like the mullet out of another Texas Tech defensive guy down there as well. But continue. Sorry,
Yeah, Trotter is just a guy that's got the pedigree. I like, and
he's Jeremiah Trotter's kid, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's where I get the pedigree out of there. Yeah, I would love to see him in purple and gold, and he's probably, you're looking at third round with Trotter there, maybe fourth.
We'll see. We'll see here in a little bit.
Right. Now another kind of quiet need, and it all kind of depends on how. I can't even think of what his name is right now. The receiver we took last year.
Oh,
name escapes me.
Our third round punt gunner.
I can't even think of it. That's how much we used him last year. Anyways, the number 3.
Yeah, now I'm drawing a blank on him too.
Exactly. Number 3 wideout is a kind of a concern to me and kind of a quiet need. Mekhi Lemon would fit that bill perfectly, I believe, as a pick somewhere in the draft.
Ty Felton, thanks, Drew.
Mekhi Lemon would be a great fit.
I'm going to throw. Since we're on wide receiver, I'm going to throw you in 2 other wide receivers.
I got one. I got another one too, but go ahead.
Okay, well, give me yours first, so I don't steal your thunder.
So I got Mekhi Lemon. I love Lemon, but I would also be happy with Jeremy Bernard from Bama. Okay. Just a true football player. Dude started his football career in his life playing offensive guard, to go into playing quarterback, to playing halfback, to finally, once he got into high school, leaning on the receiving. So this guy is just your true football player. When I played both ways in high school, so just the old school true guy that has kind of played a little bit of everything. I love Jeremy Bernard, and I really love Mekhi Lemon, who's got a kind of an edge to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are my 2 guys. I got one more guy left, but he's not a back. So
Ant put one of them here. Malachi Fields, wide receiver out of Notre Dame. That kid tore up the Senior Bowl. He's a guy that he was catching everything thrown at him. I'm not sure that he has the blazing speed, but I think he's one of those guys that a good possession receiver.
Another new name coming in here. We'll pop you up there.
Yeah. And then the other guy I'm going to throw a shameless plug in for is
Penn State running back scared the shit out of me, Rhino.
Yeah, they're both good in their own right, but yeah, I'm a little iffy on them myself personally. But the other wide receiver that I'm looking at, and I've heard the Vikings have some interest, is Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State, younger brother of Trey Lance. This kid
he can play. You would know better than anybody, so I'll let you take the fucking reins on this one.
He'll catch anything you throw at him. The guy has some of the best acrobatic skills I've seen out of a small school player in a long time. He's fast. He can run all the routes. They always talked about Christian Watson coming out of NDSU. Bryce Lance is better than Christian Watson. And he stays healthy. He's been healthy for most of his career. So
that's awesome. That's a great endorsement right there. Honestly, this is a draft where I think the best receivers are going to be in the mid rounds as well.
Well, wide receiver, just like everything else. There's.
Yep. I would see. It's a Kevin O'Connell team, so nothing would surprise me. It would not surprise me if we fucking went receiver with our first pick, because this is Kevin O'Connell's team.
Right. Bryce is from Norse's hometown.
But I look for us to be looking in that 3rd round for a receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. Drew was asking if we draft one. Yeah. I can't completely rule out a round 1 if
third
one
round.
of the.
I would say a 3rd round is the perfect fucking play.
Yeah. There's a part of me that says if one of those top wide receivers falls down there at 18, Kevin O'Connell won't be able to help himself.
Now, if I had a nickel for every time I heard this, Dan, I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah,
Oh, Bryce Lance. Excuse
Bryce
me.
Lance,
I
not
thought you were
Trey
thinking about
Lance.
me. Yeah. Okay.
I see what you did there. Little slow on the roll there, but I caught it. I got it.
Gotcha. Oh, another new name. Nice. I love.
Purple Pain. Hey, good evening.
Yeah, got some good.
Yeah,
Got some
I mean, I
minis up in
watched,
here.
as a NDSU fan, alum, and go to a lot of the games. I got to watch most of Trey Lance's
Oh,
college
that's right.
career.
Norse is from Marshall, so you got to
Yep.
see the Lance brothers.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Bryce Lance is going to be a very good player in the NFL. Appreciate that, Drew. And coming from a guy who had a much bigger and much better show than we have, that's a great endorsement there. So
I got one more guy here to talk about. I'm sure that you and Drew nailed him, and your guys when you guys had the show. Sorry, I wasn't able to catch it. I was in Tijuana doing other things,
understood.
but
Priorities.
um, and this is probably my favorite corner in the draft. And I think you probably know who that is now that I mentioned the name of or now that I named the position. Pons out of Indiana.
D'Angelo. Yeah, I like.
If we get a corner in this draft, that is who I want. He is a unicorn at that cornerback position, in my opinion. He's going to be a hell of a fucking player in this league.
Yeah. Pons gives me some Antoine Winfield vibes, and it's not just because he's 5'8".
And the speed, his ability to fucking tackle anywhere on the field.
Well, watching that kid play through the college football playoffs this year, yeah,
I might like Pons as much as I like Thieneman, to be honest with you, Rhino. So, and Thieneman is my guy in this draft. Thieneman's the guy I want dearly in this draft.
Same here. Now, we talked about it last week with Drew and I. Mansour Delane is the number one cornerback in this class. I mean, he's the closest thing to a surefire shutdown corner that this draft probably has. But yeah, Delane's is likely not going to be there when we draft. But I do like me some Pons, and I would be more than
on
happy.
Golden Pond. If we drafted Pons, I would be on Golden
Ponds.
Pond.
Yeah.
So
I'm not taking Pons in round one though, Ant.
No, but if we could snag him at 49, which I don't know if that's possible, but like I said, I've said it a couple of times in this lead up to the draft, is we got to be really cunning in this draft, right? If we want to go get our guys.
And that's the thing, that with this talent being in round 2 through 5, you're going to have
There's going to be a rush.
Well, you're going to have to put in a lot of thought into this, because it's going to be, okay, you really like Dylan Thieneman at 18, but you also really like, Woods and McDonald and some of those guys. So if you like Caden McDonald the most out of the defensive tackles, for example,
yeah,
and you really really like Dylan Thieneman, but you're also a big fan of AJ Halsey, who you can probably get in the second round or maybe even the third round. There
might be 3 safeties gone in the first round of this draft, to be honest with you, Rhino.
There's a lot of mocks, because a lot of people are mocking McNeil Warren in the first round too. Now, I don't, and Drew and I talked about this last week. McNeil Warren.
I just love the swagger that Pons brings.
I do too, but with the safeties, the more I originally had McNeil Warren over Halsey, but the more I watch Halsey, the more I like that kid, and I've got him over McNeil Warren now.
Quiet storm then, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This is a nice safety class, a little top heavy with the safeties.
But, and there's some distinct levels. You've got those top. I mean, Caleb Downs is in his own. Dylan Thieneman is probably
I think he's in his own as well. I think he's one of one.
I think he is too, and his testing and everything kind of put him there. Then you've got, your next one would be McNeil Warren and AJ Halsey. Bud Clark is another guy I really like. He's going to be available in the mid rounds. You got Jennison Smith, you got Zakee Wheatley, you've got a bunch of these other guys out there, but
I mean, he might. He's got a high fucking ceiling, in my opinion. Pons does. Yeah. He could end up being one of the best players in the draft, in my opinion. So,
Right.
take that for whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
To Ant's point here, yeah, you can get a Genesis Smith or Kamari Rams if you miss on Thieneman. Yeah, you can.
is
But
Genesis Smith or Kamara Ramsey a viable fucking plug-in
the,
where Harrison Smith used
neither one of those guys is Dylan Thieneman.
right?
They're not
That's what
bad
I'm getting at.
players.
Where I
But
feel like the transition from Harrison Smith to Thieneman could be pretty seamless. Whereas the transition from Harrison Smith to a Genesis Smith or a Kamari Ramsey isn't going to be seamless.
no, I put Genesis Smith and Zakee Wheatley and some of those other guys, Kamari Ramsey, on more the Jay Ward level than I do the Harrison Smith level.
Yeah.
Jay Ward now, not Jay Ward coming in. I mean, I think that that they're
Jay Ward has really developed into a
yeah,
capable
no,
player.
they are serviceable safeties who can probably
It's Ant's
start.
favorite safety, don't you know?
They're
Jay Ward.
they are serviceable safeties who can probably start and do a decent job, but they are not a game-changing safety like Caleb Downs, like Dylan Thieneman. I put AJ Halsey and probably McNeil Warren in that same.
I like me some McNeil Warren too, but I like Thieneman just that much more. Thieneman is
Yeah,
my top guy in this draft for as far as what this team needs. And then like I said, Pons is right there behind him. I love me some Pons. Yeah, that'd be great to have Hitman here to mentor him. But
I think the longer we go without an announcement from Hitman, the more I think he's coming back.
Yeah, I know. I kind of have that.
I put it about 65, 70% that Harrison Smith comes back for one more run.
You know, though, Rhino, the only reason Smith would come back for another run is because he believes this team can make a fucking run at the fucking trophy.
Well, I mean,
so that's telling you something.
The fact that Flo is back. If Flores had left, I'd say there's almost no chance that Harry comes back.
I don't think there's a chance he comes back unless he believes that there's a chance we can make a shot.
He's still got that urge. The guy was playing in a flag football celebrity game like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He still has the desire to play, I think.
He has that itch to play, right. But I believe the thought of actually having a shot at a championship is the main factor.
Yeah, it could be, but Harrison Smith has been the ultimate team guy.
Isn't that far off from making a run. We're not that far away from making a run. It's just a couple of tweaks here and there, I believe.
Yeah.
Granted, I did finish my purple Kool-Aid. So I think we're just a couple of players away.
Yeah.
You know. But then
possible.
again, can we do it with Kevin O'Connell being the one leading the way?
Well,
I don't know.
It all depends on the quarterback play. You know, is Kyler Murray going to step up and play lights out, or is JJ McCarthy going to come in and with a fire lit under his ass and beat out?
We'll see you, Drew.
Drew's going to go give her some inside her information. So
right.
Lorenzo Styles, yeah. I haven't done a ton of work on him, I guess.
I'd be okay in a third round going with a center and a receiver. Would be me. Go first 2 picks the defense, next 2 picks center and receiver. That'd be fucking ideal for me. If we could nail Thieneman and Pons with your first 2 picks, then go with a Slaughter and maybe a fucking Lemon or
Lemon's going to go first round, I think. But
you think so?
I think so.
He's like I don't know if he's a slot guy.
He's probably a late first rounder in my opinion. But
I don't know if you take a slot guy in the first round. But
well, we'll see here in a little bit.
We'll see, right?
Styles 4.2740. That's impressive. Like I said, I haven't done a ton of work on the guys, so I can't really speak to them, I guess. But let's roll it since you got all your guys taken care of now.
They are all taken care of.
All right,
yes.
So let's do the mock draft roundup really quick, and then we'll do our own mock draft to wind up the show. So starting off the mock draft roundup for this week. We have a surprising name. We have Caleb Downs going to the Vikings. Rob Rang from Fox Sports has us trading up to pick 10 to take Downs.
That would be hugely disappointing to me. I would be disappointed with that happening.
Yeah, no, to me,
that means that we're giving away picks to move up to get somebody.
To me, there are 2 guys that I would trade up in this draft for.
Love would be
in the first round. Jeremiah Love and Caleb Downs. Now, I don't think I'm going up to 10.
I'm not down with Downs, man. I want Thieneman.
For where we're sitting and all that other stuff, yeah, I will.
And I
Thienemann,
could already hear all the outside noise, Rhino, if we go and we take another Georgia safety. I could already hear the fans that aren't in the know
okay,
bitching.
where's the Georgia safety?
Lewis Cine, right?
Yeah, but no, Downs is Ohio State.
Oh, Downs is color of the helmet. Threw me off. My bad. My bad.
But next guy here, Peter Schrager from NFL Network has us taking one of the guys we just talked about, Emmanuel McNeil Warren.
At 18, I think that's a little high. I think you
Yeah.
can make a move to work your way down and get McNeil Warren.
Yeah, I would agree on that. And then the winner for every week that we have done. That's a very good point, Drew. I would be okay moving up a couple of spots, but I'm not making a big. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks here. This is not a trade up draft in the first round.
Thank you. That's what I was gonna hit on right there. If you're doing any sort of trading, it needs to be down and getting more picks in the mid rounds.
Yep. So this guy mocked to us by Jacob Infante from Pro Football Network, Garrett Padell, CBS Sports, Rhett Lewis, NFL.com, Tyler Dragon, USA Today, Lou Scatiglia, NFL Spin Zone, Matt Rooney, Bleacher Report, Mike Finelli, Fantasy Pros, Nate Davis, USA Today, Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic, Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports.
Who do they have us picking?
Stephen Cheeth from Barstool, James Michie from ESPN, and the Fox Sports staff mock have us taking Oregon safety Dylan Thieneman.
Now watch, in spite of all those guys, we'll take somebody else.
Well, or Thieneman's going to go
right
like Thieneman will go like a 12 to Dallas or some damn thing like that.
I've heard that Dallas is pretty high on Downs.
Yeah,
but now watch, Thieneman will fall right into our lap, and
we won't. We'll pass on him. Yeah,
we'll pass on him.
Next guy, Peter Woods. We talked about earlier tonight. Defensive tackle out of Clemson. Pete Prisco from CBS. The A to Z Sports staff mock, and Tyler Sullivan from CBS Sports give us Mr. Woods. Next guy on the list, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. We talked about him earlier. Yahoo staff mocks him to us, Caden McDonald.
Okay.
Next guy, Dyer Carragher from Pro Football Focus. Cornerback out of Tennessee, Jermod McCoy. Now, McCoy, there's only one cornerback I would spend a first-round draft pick on this year, and that is Mansour Delane.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not high on this cornerback draft outside of Delane and Pons, to be honest with you. So
there's a couple other guys I like in the mid-rounds, and we'll see where they fall here when we get to that point. But
Right.
Next guy, we talked about him in a lot here earlier on. Chad Reuter from NFL.com gives us Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. Again, with the injury red concerns. Flags, I can't in good conscience spend a first-round pick on him. I can't.
No, not at all. That's too much. And just the injury concerns alone and the time frame of those injuries is enough for me to bump him down to at least the end of the second round or top of the third.
Yeah. Delane will be gone by pick 12. I fully expect that to probably be the case too, Ant. But I like McCoy, but I just think that I have more positions of need and players that fit that at 18.
And McCoy isn't a BPA either at that point either. I don't.
No, he's a good cornerback. I also like his running mate. So I mean, but you know, I just don't have cornerback is a need. I'm not going to argue that point, but I think safety and defensive tackle are bigger needs, and I think there are guys that would fit that bill better.
I don't. Cornerback is a need, but I don't think it's that high of a need to where you can't find somebody in free agency, come, the end of training camp or something.
Possibly, yeah.
So,
All right. So the other now here's an interesting one. Kurt Popejoy out of DraftWire has us taking Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver out of Indiana.
Way too high for him.
Yeah,
Way too high at 18 for Omar Cooper Jr.
yeah, I wouldn't do that either. Next guy on the list, JP Acosta from CBS Sports, has us taking Clemson cornerback Avion Terrell.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
No.
Terrell. I mean, Terrell's a good player, and I think he's going to be a good player in this league. But he's more of a slot guy, I think, and we're good at slot. We need outside help.
Yeah, we do. What we need to do is be able to move Murph down in the slot where he
Yep.
plays his best game.
Hey, we got another name in here, BD97. Good evening.
What we need to do is get a guy in here that can give us the affordability to slide Byron Murphy into the slot where he belongs.
Right.
And have somebody that can play on the outside.
Yeah.
Like a
you got Rogers on one side. We need a guy. You know, we brought in.
If you got
Pierre,
Rogers on one
mix,
side and Pons on the other, we might have arguably the fastest tandem of corners in the league.
Yeah. Why do we have way more holes now than when KOC took over? Because we haven't had a good draft since KOC took over.
And the fact that KOC was also handed a team that was long in the tooth when he got here, and we
but we have had 4 years to fix that long in the tooth problem, and we have not done it.
I agree. I'm not trying to defend KO here, but he didn't come into a sunny situation either by any means.
But we also cannot put all this on the feet of Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa either.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Did he?
Granted, the more I hear about Mensa, the more I dislike how he ran things here.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of talk coming out now that his leadership ideas
it was horrible. He put on a face for the public, but then behind closed doors didn't do shit.
Well,
did things that he wanted to do that nobody else agreed with.
Right, and he was one. You know, and again, this is all hearsay, and the ones that are still standing are always the ones that write the.
I love it.
Yeah, he's not.
That's right. That's right.
But you know, the ones that are still standing are the ones that write the narrative. You know, they're saying that. You know, he was. His door was closed most of the time. He was not.
Right, he was fake. He was fake.
He was always thought he was the smartest guy in the room. I mean, we've had no shortage of those guys. Brad Childress to name, you know, Kwesi.
I hope
Danny Green.
Lights the fireworks off. I hope the fireworks light off for Brzezinski and he just fucking blows us all out of the water when it comes to this draft. And
I would love to see that. You know, and we'll talk about what's going to happen to the GM. You know, the Vikings are starting their GM search. Yeah, absolutely right. That is exactly the point I was making. Got one more guy on the list here. Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State.
Wow, falling all the way to 18? I don't see that happening. I got him as my number one receiver in the draft. So
yeah, I was kind of surprised when that... who is running this draft, Drew? I wish I could give you a good answer for that.
You've asked this question a couple of times now during the show, and I understand that. But I think the end all say all comes down to Brzezinski. I think it's more of a collaborated type of deal. I truly do. I truly believe it's Flores, KOC, and Brzezinski. But who gets the final call? Briz.
Yeah, and I think Brzezinski he's been given his directive by the Wilfs, so I think he probably will have, you know, if it's tiebreaker, like Flores is adamant that they want this guy and KOC is adamant that they want that guy.
Brzezinski's going to do what he thinks is best for the team. I think it's going to be his call. And, you know, I have high hopes for this draft. I don't foresee – it's going to be really interesting for us to watch and see how this draft really pans out.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see.
Yep. All right, so with that, we're going to switch over and we are going to do our one and only mock draft of the year. Now, if you've watched the show since the start, we've typically done a first-round mock, mocking all the other teams along with it up to at least the Vikings pick. But Lance and I were kind of talking about this off air a little bit. Whether it's intentional or not, sometimes we might have a tendency to kind of let a player fall a little bit towards the Vikings that we may want the Vikings to draft. Say a Dylan Thieneman or
I
somebody
think
like
this
that.
evens the playing field a little bit for us
This
here.
will. So we're going to do something. We're going to do what Joe Blow, whoever, people who go out and run these mock draft simulations on a daily basis, guilty. I do this all the time. This is part of how I.
See, I've never done a mock draft, but
I probably do 3 or 4 a day.
I think it would be something that I would get into if I was to do it, but I just
See,
haven't.
because what I use it for is I start looking at players who are going to be available around where the Vikings are going to pick, and I can't then by knowing those guys, I kind of target some of my analysis on the players and
Okay,
stuff
Ryan,
that
why
way.
don't you go apply for GM?
Hey, Mark, give me a call. I'm available.
Exactly.
But anyway, so I'm going to switch this over here. We're going to do this,
I was gonna say, not watch it not work.
and then we're going to do this. We're going to use the A to Z Sports Mock Draft Simulator. So we are going to pick the Minnesota Vikings, but we are going to let the computer run the other 31 teams. We will do a 7-round mock. We'll put it on fast so we're not here all night.
Right. So we're not picking the other team's players. We're letting
No.
the AI go away with that.
And
So
we are letting AI make trades between other teams as we go along here too. So
and by
that's
all
on.
means, out there watching.
Yep.
Pipe
We
up
get
and-
when we get to a pick here for the Vikings, we will we're going to have trade options available to us, and so we'll talk it over. We'll look at who's on the board right now, what kind of draft or trade options we have. So we are going to enter the draft room. All right.
Las Vegas is on the clock.
Las Vegas is on the clock, so let us hit this. It's going to run through pretty fast, but that's okay. We're going to hit it here. All right, so we are sitting on the board. Kendrick Falk, the edge rusher. They have him listed as an edge.
I'm not a big fan on Conception either at all.
Casey
by any
Concepcion,
means.
no. Peter Woods is on. Okay, so let's close the AI suggestions.
Thieneman's available. He's right there.
Dylan Thieneman is available at 21.
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer, Rhino. I think it's a no-brainer from us.
Where is our trade options here?
I think it was on the last little banner that you had up. I think the Bears had offered us a trade, and I think one trade offer right there.
One new trade offer. Here we go. Tennessee wants to trade up to pick 18. You receive pick 35, 66, 142, and they get pick 18.
I don't like that at all. I don't. It knocks us right out of the first round.
It does. So do we want to?
I think our guy's there. I think you decline that.
We're going to decline this one. All right, we will decline it.
Yes, I think you take Thieneman there.
All right, so let's look at his board here quick. Kendrick Falk out of Auburn. We don't need an edge rusher first round. Peter Woods is there. Dylan Thieneman is there. Avion Terrell's there. Cade McDonald is down here. Thieneman.
If we can't agree on a pick, Rhino, we'll go to the commenters to see what they say.
Bears trade. This is one thing Kwesi did a lot of that pissed me off. Especially in the first round, I am not trading with a division rival to help them out. Fuck that.
Yup, and Ant says Thieneman.
Thieneman, okay.
I think Thieneman's the pick here.
Dylan Thieneman is the pick. We're moving on.
Okay.
Let's see where we end up with. I'm going to try to move this up a little bit so I can catch the bottom of the.
Hunter's gone. Oh, that would be a New Orleans pick for sure.
All right, so we are now at pick 49.
My number one tackle's there.
Christian Miller is there. Jake Galladay, the linebacker's there. We got a couple of trade suggestions.
Yeah.
But we have 4. Okay, so let's look at the board. Christian D'Angelo Pons is there.
That, yeah. Oh my! If that was the way it fell, I
Con-
would.
Connor Liu, the center, is at 50. AJ Halsey, but we took Thieneman, so Halsey is not a necessity.
I would shit my pants if D'Angelo Pons was there at this
Jacob
pick.
Rodriguez is there. Your buddy Josiah Trotter is there. Traden Stukes, he's another safety I really like.
A lot of these guys that you're hitting on would be guys that are going to be there with their next pick, I think.
All right, let's look at the trade options here. Pittsburgh wants to move up from 53. We would get pick 121 in return. 1,000 points for that. Chargers want to move up from 55. San Francisco 58. Cleveland up from 70. Dropping back to 70 is too far
I
for
don't
me.
like any of those offers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we're declining that one. 58, 127 for 49.
I mean, we're not getting any double-digit trade offers. I mean, as far as compensation goes, we're getting knocked out of the top 100 by giving up.
Well, I mean, we go from 53. We would go from 49 to 53 here, and 49 to 55 here.
I mean, there's definitely a chance with Pittsburgh that we could maybe land Pons at 53.
Do you want to try it, or do you want to just stick and pick?
I would, if it was me, I'm picking Pons here.
Yeah,
no doubt, hands down, going Pons.
Drew says, "Fuck the trades."
Exactly. Fuck the trade. We're going Pons.
Fuck the trades,
and if we could get Pons and Thieneman in the first 2 picks, my mind is blowing.
All right. Yeah, where is Jadarian? Just out of curiosity, where is Jadarian Price? He's at 67. Okay, that's a good thing. Maybe we don't pick again until
you go your two defensive guys and your 2 offensive guys in the third.
All right, so we're going to take D'Angelo Pons here. Let's Kansas City traded up. Let's pause it here. Where are we at? We are at pick 71. Down. Big Citrus just went.
I think you got to go. Offense here. You can't go your first 3 picks on defense.
We don't pick yet. I stopped it just to kind of see.
Kind of see what we're going at here with the Price has gone to Denver. That's a good pick by Denver there.
Yeah. All right, let's let it keep going here, I guess. Okay, we are on the board at 82. Jonah Coleman is there, the running back out of Washington. Ant's boy, Darrell Jackson Jr. out of Florida State. Let's see what we got. 5 trade offers.
Let's see who's available.
AJ Halsey is still available. Interesting. Josiah Trotter, Jonah Coleman, Mike Washington's got some home run hitting speed.
He does.
The only thing I have a problem with Washington is he's got a little bit of fumble. He's got a fumbling problem. So he's kind of like Adrian Peterson light. Yep. He's got that breakaway burst, but he also likes to drop the football.
What do we got for centers?
Let's look at the center board. Interior offensive line. Logan Jones is there at 107.
That would be my pick.
Hold on. Where are we at right now? We are at, let's look at players or board. We go to pick 82, and then we are on again at 97. So I think we can still get.
You think we could trade down here, maybe?
I think we can get the center at 97.
So you think I would maybe look at trades?
Yeah, let's go back to the players. What do we got? What are we looking at for trades here?
Oh, another guy in here new. Charlie, nice seeing you in here.
Hey, view incoming offers. All right, we've got the Rams want to trade up from 93 to 82. We would get pick 93, 207, and 232 for pick 82. Miami wants to go up from 94. We would get pick 151. That's a 574 to 528. Seattle wants to go from 96. Tennessee wants to go up from 101's too far to drop. I don't want that one.
Right, no.
Cleveland wants to go from 107. That's even worse. Seattle at 96.
Trade down to 90, Ant says.
We can't. That's
we don't have a 4th round pick. Coleman, huh? Coleman. I'd say you go with. I'd say you trade down and you try to get Jones. That would be my
I
best.
think we can still get Logan Jones with the next pick at 97.
Right.
So let's. Do we want to take either one of these two trades?
Well, Miami it looks like has the best value. With that
Drop. Do we want to drop down to 93 and just see what
94,
happens?
94 we'd be dropping down to.
94.
Plus, we'd still get the 151. But they're at, but LA
All
is
right. Well,
adding on
here
the two late
let's see.
round picks.
Let's double check on the board. Okay, we got Jonah Coleman. We need a running back. We need a defensive tackle.
We got Purple Pain saying go for Coleman, and then you got we got somebody saying Halsey, but we already took
We
Thieneman,
took
so
Thieneman, so
we wouldn't need Halsey.
I mean Halsey's would be a value pick here.
It would be. It would be. I'd say your best bet's looking at either going after Logan Jones with a trade down or drafting
Well,
Coleman.
I think regardless, I think we can still get Logan Jones next time. Pat Coogan is there later. You're right, Drew. That's why I think we hold off on the center right now.
Who's all available for running backs right now?
On the running back board, Jonah Coleman, Mike Washington,
Emmett
Emmett
Johnson's there
Johnson.
at 103.
So I think we can if we get one of these three guys, I'll be happy. What else do we need right now? We got cornerback and safety, defensive tackles. Daryl Jackson.
Oh my God, Ant's gonna. Corleone's there. I think the top two there are the guys we'd want to nail. The Capehart, we could always come back
Monte
to
Capehart. Yeah, I think he's later on. Yeah, interior offensive line. Sam Hecht right there. Logan Jones is still there.
Receiver.
Pat Coogan's down at 184. Wide receiver. Bryce Lance is there.
That's kind of a fucking barren wasteland right now at receiver.
But right here though.
Right, Bryce Lance is probably
Jacoby Lane out of USC. I like him too.
Yeah.
Again, we looked at running backs. We need to get one of these three guys. All right. The board is on.
Seattle. I didn't even see that offer there. There wasn't an offer.
Seattle was back into like pick 98 or something like that. Okay, guys. We have two trades that we can pick from here that we have. Oh, actually, here they're all back up again. Actually, okay, Seattle wants to come up from 96. Miami wants to come up from 94, and the Rams want to come up from 93. I don't want to go back any further than that. Oh, shit. And then I do that. I picked the wrong pick. Hold on.
Can you go back and take that off?
Let's undo that.
Oh, thank God. You almost ruined our whole segment right now.
I almost fucked the whole draft up there. All right. All right, let's go back to the trade thing. Incoming offers.
Okay. What the fuck?
Oh shit, we still ended up trading back. Shit, so what happened here? Let's look at the board. Okay, we were at 82. They took Bryce Lance.
Now undo again.
Can I do undo one more time? This is going to undo. Okay, hold on. Give me
Okay, you're doing one by one. Good,
Yep.
good. Okay. Well, at least we know what's going on. Get down to 82. And then you're probably going to have to There we go. Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. I screwed that up. All right, so let's view the trades again. Pittsburgh wants to trade up. Well,
These are all new fucking trade offers now.
Okay, yeah, those are the wrong trades. So, we're going to have to stick and pick here, guys, because I think we fucked it, or otherwise the... So, let's look at the players available.
Who do we got? Comments. Who do they... Take Lance by Henneman. Henneman says take Lance.
Okay.
Oh, Norsvia says take Lance. Yeah, I guess
right,
Lance would be a good...
Let's do that.
Lance is that offensive guy.
We're probably gonna get dinged a little bit because we're taking a guy who's ranked at 98 at 82. Hold on, let's look at the. Or do we want to take a running back, Coleman or Mike Washington here?
You know, I think we could get Emmett Johnson with our next pick if it came down to it.
Drew wants to go running back. Purple Pain, yes, he can.
And this is coming from Rhino, who's watched North Dakota.
Yes, I am an NBA.
Yep.
All right.
Hammond, we've got
Okay.
three guys saying Lance. I'm on
All right.
board with Lance.
At 82, we are taking Bryce Lance down there.
Boom. There's our offensive
All
guy.
right. Resume the draft. Okay, we are now at Jonah Coleman is there.
Coleman's still
Logan
there.
Jones is there. All right, so let's look at this. Okay, we're going to go all. Who's the best on the board? Jonah Coleman at 76 is a Dalen Everett cornerback I really like.
I think you're looking center or running back here.
Yeah, Logan Jones is at 1. Okay, let's go back here to our board. And when do we pick again? Okay, we pick at 97 and we don't pick again until 163. So,
if we didn't pick Lance there, I think Dan would have blown a gasket.
Right. All right, so if we stick and pick, it's going to come down to either center or running back.
Yeah, I believe center or running back. I think you can get Emmett Johnson. We can. When do we pick next?
197. We got to because we don't have a 4th round pick.
Okay.
So let's see what the trades bring up here. All right. Pittsburgh wants to go from 99 up to 97. We get pick 216. That doesn't help us out much.
No, this is Tennessee's
101 and 225 to 97. No, 107, 206. That's a little better on the second.
Yeah.
117 and 185.
I think we got another one there too, don't we?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. And fuck that. I'm not trading with Detroit. They can go. They can go suck themselves. All right. Any of these trades
look appealing?
Look appealing.
Trade with Vegas. And
Purple Pain wants Jonah Coleman.
Is it Coleman's a running back?
Yep.
I think we can go Coleman. Who's left for centers?
We got
because Emmett Johnson's there yet too.
Right. Interior offensive line. Logan Jones is right there. He'll be gone.
You got Coogan's. I think we shoot for Coogan later on.
Coogan is there later on. I like Pat Coogan. He's going to be there for a while.
I think we go with Coleman and then we shoot for Coogan.
All right.
Yeah, Coogan later on.
Jonah Coleman, welcome to Minnesota.
Now, hopefully,
Logan Jones
to Cleveland. Hopefully, we can get Coogan to land right in our laps here with his next pick.
He should very easily still be there.
All these picks going by.
Remember, we still need a defensive tackle too.
Right.
We have not taken a defense.
Might be there.
All right. So we need interior offensive line. Hold on, what pick are we at right now?
Coogan's there.
163.
Coogan's there. What are we looking at for defensive tackle then?
We got 163 and 196. Okay, back.
Jay, another new name. Welcome.
Good evening, Jay. Okay, so we're going to look at defensive tackle. We're going to look at interior offensive line.
Right, exactly like Drew is saying. Coogan may very well be the best center in this draft.
So Coogan.
At this point, that's a steal to me. Who do we got at tackle? Defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle. We've lost out on it. Skylar Gil-Howard is still there. Devin Eastern, the guy out of Minnesota, is there. Drew, some of these later round guys, you probably got a better idea on it.
I'm thinking Coogan's our pick here.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's go with Pat Coogan at pick 184. Yeah, 0 sacks allowed in 2025. Okay, Pat Coogan, you are the new center for the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, I'm going to do a pause here now. Let's go back to the board.
And Henneman, he's got a good spot with these defensive tackles as well. So I take his opinion into heart as well as Drew's here.
All right, let's go see who we got for defensive tackles left on the board. Rayshawn Benny, the kid out of Michigan. Chris McClellan. We talked about him. There's a 41% chance he'll be available yet in 10 picks. Skylar Gill Howard is there. Devin Eastern is still there. Eastern will easily be able to get Gil Howard probably.
Right.
McClellan would be the guy that I would be
Considering.
here. We are at what now? Pick 170. The Vikings pick again at 196.
Nice little information from
Matt Golban is a good. He would have been my fallback if we couldn't have got Coogan.
right.
Let's let it play here for a few more picks and see what we got.
Yeah, we're looking at defensive tackle here, I would say.
Denver took a Drew Aller quarterback.
Wow.
Interesting. Caden Curry, the edge is gone. Aaron Anderson. Who do we have for players now? We are sitting at pick 179. Benny's still there. McClellan is still there. Should we try to do a trade up here, or should we
We could. We got the ammo to do it.
try to go up and see if we can get McClellan?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be my.
All right, so with Philadelphia, let's do a trade.
What's his grade? What's his where do they think he's going to go? What's his number for players on the board?
McClellan has a 35% chance of being
185. And what pick are we at?
We don't pick until 197.
What pick is it right now?
We are currently at 178.
So
we're not let it play for 3-4 more picks and see what happens.
I'd let it play for 3 more picks.
All right, we'll go to round 6 and see where we sit. Rayshawn Benny just went to the Bills, so Arizona's on the clock. I think this is probably where we try to make a jump. Offer trade. Select a team. Arizona Cardinals. All right, so we want pick 183. We'll send them 196. How much do we need? And maybe 244.
Cameron Ball. Who was saying that? Oh, Ant.
That's too much. Let's go like this. When you send 199, you receive 232.
No trading up. I mean, in the back end of the draft, I don't mind trading up so much.
Yeah. All right, so they're not gonna accept this, and I wouldn't.
Okay, give him 244.
Let's hold on. Let's do this.
Oh, a pick from next year?
Yeah. We'll send our 7th round pick from next year. You're offering way more than it's worth. All right. So let's, instead of doing that, let's add this on there. No, let's try this one. Okay. All right, we're going to do this instead then. We want 183.
Right.
Instead of 196, we're going to give them 234 and 244. Let's try that.
Okay.
That'll keep That'll keep pick 196. Let's try that.
Okay.
And they take it. All
there
right.
We go.
So we are now on the board at pick 183. So that takes us back over here to the defensive tackles. We want Chris McClellan, the defensive tackle out of Mizzou.
There we go.
Come on into Minnesota.
I think
Skylar
we got one.
Howard went the very next pick, so that was a good. I think that was a good move on our part.
We got 2 picks left. Okay.
Yep.
Now these are kind of picks that we could just let's see who's available and go from there.
All right, so we have no trade down options here. Let's look at everybody that's on the board. Dallin Bentley, the tight end out of Utah, is there.
Another safety.
What do we need yet? Okay, we took a safety, a cornerback, a wide receiver, a running back, a center. And a defensive tackle. We could use another safety and another defensive tackle.
Interior linebacker.
We could use a linebacker. Yep. Okay, let's go to the draft board.
I'd say linebacker or tight end.
All right, so on the board,
What are they
players.
saying here in the comments? Yeah, we got
Linebacker
Pons,
and
Norse.
edge. Yeah, we got Pons in the second round, Norse.
Linebacker, edge, McClellan, somebody that
All right,
you
so
were.
we're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
look.
that's who we just
We're gonna
took.
look at linebacker. Scooby Williams is there.
I think we're
Jimmy.
done with fullbacks there. I can't even 6'8", 1'5". I don't Jaka. I think we're. I don't think we're gonna. I think
The,
once him is gone, we're gonna slide away from the fullback position and kind of.
well, I think fullback might be a place where you start looking at a UDFA or something maybe to fill that role. You know, there's a guy like Heidenreich who is
Well, is
out
that
there in
just it,
place
or
for
do we
Nate.
just phase out the fullback that most of the league has already? You know.
Well,
So I think Jordan Mason could step in and play fullback just fine if called upon for whatever situation that might be.
yeah. So there really isn't anybody here that
I like Scooby.
you like. Scooby Williams. Let's look defensive tackles. We still have Nick Barnett out of South Carolina. Devin
Do you
Eastern
want
is
to go
still
back to
there.
back with defensive tackle
I,
though?
huh?
Do you want to go back to back with defensive tackles and
Yeah,
picks?
and we didn't get our nose tackle. Anybody out there know any of these guys that might be a good nose tackle? I mean, there are some guys out there. Oh, what's his name?
Top Ant
DJ,
saying Red Murdoch.
DJ Reader's still out there and stuff in the.
Norse is saying Wisniewski.
I like Cole Wisniewski, former Bison there as well. So yeah, okay. What
Jaka
else?
is saying
Tight
Noah
end,
Sitsky.
Dallin Bentley out of Utah. I kind of like him a little bit. I think he might be a pick there. Riley Nowakowski out of Indiana a little bit later on.
Jay, to answer your question, I think that's gonna be Banks at defensive tackle. One guy that slides a little bit this year in the draft. I think Banks is a good candidate for that.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle.
Safeties. Cole Wisniewski is sitting right there. To
That's
we
somebody called Wisniewski
we
out. Said to go
Morse
after
called that
him.
out. We could use another safety. I mean, the safety room is not overly
Right, especially when you have kind of a question mark there on who's the main guy.
right. Okay, let's check our board here. What do we got left for picks?
It says
We pick
safety is still a need.
We pick at 196 and we pick at 235.
Go look at our needs. I think it says safety is still our top need.
Well, that doesn't change after you.
Oh,
after
okay,
draft, so.
okay.
So we've taken a safety, a cornerback, a wide receiver, a running back, a center, a defensive tackle. We could use a tight end, but that's not a necessity for right now because Hawkinson is still here. We could use a
Apparently,
linebacker.
Gary Smith, the third nose tackle, tested out pretty good in PFF, 340 pounds.
Gary Smith the third. Okay, let's go back to the board. Players.
What's it say on Smith?
Gary Smith. We can probably get Gary Smith take him with the last pick.
Okay.
So, are we okay taking another safety here? We take Wisniewski.
Take a quarterback. Yeah, I mean, who do we got for quarterbacks available?
That's a good idea.
Belichick always said take a quarterback every fucking draft. Taylon Green? Taylon Green's available? That's who you fucking take. In the 6th round?
Luke Altmaier's there. Diego Pavia's there.
I fucking go Taylon Green. No doubt.
I'm just going to roll down. You know, okay, so yeah. I was saying if
You go with
Cole
Taylon
Payton,
Green.
if Cole Payton was there, I was going to take him, but is Styles still available? No, I don't think so.
The last two picks here are just fun picks. I mean, I'd go with Green. That would be a hell of a good pick he's going to be a hell of a good backup, I think, in this league. Another corner, Drew's saying.
So who's available on cornerbacks? Let's look there. Thaddeus Dixon, North Carolina. Devin Marshall, North Carolina State. Devonta Smith, Notre Dame. Sierra Wright, Nebraska. DJ Harvey, USC.
And say to trade down and get another pick, but
we don't have any trade offers. Not to say that we couldn't offer a trade.
I would just stick and pick at this point.
Scouts say
exactly what I'm saying. Taylon Green's there. I would be going with Green at quarterback, but maybe we want to fill out more depth.
Okay, you guys, put the. I haven't figured out how to do polls in here, but Cornerback is drained. I think.
Henneman even wants to take a. We got 3 guys who want to take a flyer on Green.
All right, so here's our choices. It's down to Talon Green or Cole Wisniewski. Who the fuck is I'm with you on that, Drew. I don't. And
You don't know Taylor Green? Oh man,
we've got 4 quarterbacks right now. We really don't need another one. Red Murdoch at linebacker.
He's going to be available at the last pick.
He doesn't have a scouting report. I'd take Scooby Williams. I think
Go look at Taylor Green's scouting report. I'm sure they got one on him.
Rare athleticism at 6'5", with elite testing and 2,400 career rushing yards. Inconsistent passer with erratic footwork. Hero ball mentality, forces risky decisions. Needs patience and coaching discipline. This sounds like and I hate to say it, this sounds like a Timu J.J. McCarthy.
No, man, it's Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
Taylor Green. Yeah, we got 4 Taylor Greens right now. You got to go with Taylor Green.
Norris wants Wisniewski.
Oh, okay.
Drew wants Cole. Cole who? Cole Wisniewski. Okay.
All right, go Wisniewski. Double up in safety.
I think it's more of a need. We've got, like I said, we've got 4 fucking quarterbacks. They say if you got 5 quarterbacks, you've got none. So we're taking Cole Wisniewski there.
If Taylor Green's available at this last pick, we're taking Taylor Green.
All right. All right, we are on the board with the last. Cyrus Allen, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati, is there. Let's look at all the board.
Yeah, easily, Dan. Green beats out Brosmer.
Oh yeah. Well, one of us could damn near beat out Brosmer. Okay, Cyrus Allen, wide receiver, is there. Fabici Niawau, interior offensive line. Emmanuel Henderson, wide receiver. David Gusta, defensive tackle. Devin Eastern.
Offensive tackles? Who's available for offensive tackles?
Yeah, Cole Brevard, the defensive tackle out of. Who was it that was they said out of this group here that was a nose tackle? Anybody know any of these guys here? Gary Smith. Carver Willis could be a future starting.
Is Green still there? Green's gone.
Diego Pounds, the offensive tackle from Ole Miss, is there. He's a good player.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad pick either right here.
Let's see. Okay, Pounds is on my board. Running backs. Nobody really there that jumps out at me. Wide receiver.
Who's the best available player right now, according to this draft board?
Cyrus Allen, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. Does he have a scouting report? He's a slot receiver.
Well, it's kind of what we're in need of.
Top plate. David Gusta, defensive tackle. Yeah, I like Pounds. Cole Brevard.
People got to realize this is a 7th round pick here. So.
Right. So what do we want to take a flyer? Ant wants Cameron Ball or Diego Pounds. Cameron Ball is he an offensive tackle, Ant, or what is he at?
I go Pounds.
Let's look at linebacker. We never took a linebacker. Jimmy Rolder out of Michigan is still there. Red Murdoch is still there. Mark Gronowski out of Iowa, former South Dakota State. He's there. Pounds could be a steal here. All right, I'm in on Pounds. I like him.
Yeah.
Let's take Diego Pounds.
Get some of that depth at tackle for sure.
Oh, where the hell is he? There he is. All right. Boom. That is our 7-round.
I like what we did here tonight, Rhino. And what we all did here.
Yes. We as a collective, yes. We got a B grade on the draft. So they docked us for Bryce Lance taking him early, which I knew they would. Pat Coogan at 163, they docked us down to a
Wow.
C grade draft, and Diego Pounds, they docked us for a C.
McClellan an A minus.
McClellan was a good Rossini's rack in the third round. Yeah, we didn't get the insider information for that one though.
Wow.
I like it.
I think a couple of you guys out there watching are a little bit behind in the feed, just because I'm seeing the comments come in. But
No, I like what we did here. I think this is.
I would be ecstatic with this draft, Rhino. I would be really excited to see what these guys can do come mini camps and the off season program. Exactly, the grades mean nothing in these mock drafts.
No, they don't because they're based on player on the big board, not player for what what is best fit for teams.
I mean, our first 5 players in this draft, 6 players in this draft, I'm extremely high on. So I would be happy.
They all fill an immediate position of need.
Right.
And with Pat Coogan, even if he's not ready to go right away, you still got Blake Brandel to come in and start. So
all these guys, all the first 5 guys we picked could have an immediate impact on this team.
Yep.
Rhino.
All right, I'm going to pop back to the main view here real quick. All right.
The first 5 picks could have an immediate impact with Thieneman, Bonds, Lance,
Jonah Coleman, Pat Coogan. Yeah.
Yes, could immediately come in and make an impact this year.
Yep. We didn't get the big nose tackle that we talked about earlier, but there's still guys out there. DJ Reader's still out there, and a couple other guys that could come in. You know, they could sign after the draft to come in and fill those spots. So,
right, and I agree too.
You're not wrong there.
That was a good way to
like I
start
said,
the draft.
You know, and Norris backed this up earlier too. Bryce Lance is, you know, they're comparing him a lot to Christian Watson. I think the comparison is because they're both come from NDSU. Bryce Lance is better than Christian Watson, and he can stay healthy. Christian Watson's a very good player. I love Christian Watson when he was coming out of here.
Every single year he has something that comes up.
But yeah, he just cannot stay healthy. Draft for need. With draft for need, but you can't reach because of need.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
Jaka and Purple Pain, I think you guys are a little bit back behind in the feed, but that's fine. We still put on a good show, I think, for you guys tonight. So I'm happy with the way our mock turned out this year. With that being said, we're almost 2 hours in right now, so
we're gonna have to call it a night here. So programming note, guys, we will not have a show until after the draft. I am hopping on an airplane on Sunday and will not be back until the Sunday after the draft. But probably look that week to do. We're going to start doing our midweek shows coming up here. So we'll do a draft recap after that. By that time, we'll know.
I trust in Rhino's assessment of Bryce Lance. As I said earlier, he has followed North Dakota his entire life. So
North Dakota State.
Excuse me, North Dakota State. Yeah, I better get that right. I'll never hear the end of it. And you know, I don't
has shorter arms, but
I don't fall into that myth when it comes to linemen. Either they could do it or they can't.
Yeah, and interior offensive line, the guys with shorter arms don't struggle at it as much as if you put him out at left tackle. Coogan is one of those lunch pail, go out and kick. He's kind of.
And he's a center, so you don't need those long arms, really. You're not stopping their edge rushers.
Pat Coogan is kind of a Ryan Kelly kind of guy, I think.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Now, as long as he stays healthier than Ryan Kelly, we'd be in fine shape. But
with being a center, you don't need those long arms because you don't have those edge rushers with fucking hands that hang below their knees.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I would be too Purple Pain. I think this fell it didn't fall exactly the way we wanted, but I would think we got some really good players out of the deal. And Coogan is this is, and that's maybe why I like him, man, because he is one of those old school go out and smack you in the fucking face and dare you to come at him kind of guys. Yeah.
Well, we need to wrap it up because Rossini is on my line right now, and I need to give her some insider
All right.
information.
Yeah. So again, with that, no show until after the draft.
Keep an eye on the Facebook page.
Yep.
For a few things, just keep an eye on the Facebook page. Check it every once in a while.
Speaking of the Facebook page, yes, for all you guys in here and everything else, we kind of been talking about our draft contest. What we're going to do is we're going to go on our Facebook page. If you're not subscribed already, following the page, go do so. We're going to put a post up there sometime between now and the draft. What we're going to want you guys to do is we want you to give us the top 2 players that you think the Vikings are going to pick. Say like with our draft, Dylan Thieneman and D'Angelo Pons. And with that, whoever gets closest or best out of it is going to win. We've got a bunch of stuff here that a friend of the show, GMAC, sent us. We've got jerseys. We got a couple of hats. We got some other stuff in here. So it'll be choice of jersey, hat. We're going to give you a whole package here. We got a few other things. We got a little Adrian Peterson.
Josh Mickey's in here right now. I think you could give him you could explain to him at
Josh,
this point.
I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I thought I sent you the shit that you won about 3 months ago or whatever it was. And I was in the storeroom the other day and saw a package, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Apparently my wife was cleaning house when I was at work and took the package.
I'll get on that purple pain.
And put it in the storeroom. I thought I sent that out to you, my friend. I apologize for that. So I will be getting that out to you here. Might not be till I get back from my vacation, but I will get that out to you. And we'll throw you in a little something extra for your time on that too. But I apologize for that, Josh. And so we'll get that out there. But watch for the post on the Facebook page.
I'll have her put you on the list.
We'll go from there. But with that, thank you guys so much for joining us. We've been going for almost 2 hours here. Had a lot of fun with this draft.
I enjoyed every minute of tonight. I thought that every minute of tonight
I liked the way we did the draft tonight, so I think this is the way we're going to do it going forward. But with that, again, thank you guys for joining us. Draft's a couple weeks away. We're going to have a new crop of Minnesota Vikings and vacation. What the hell is that? That is called my wife has not seen her family for 2 years, so we are going to go back and see them. She's got a new little nephew and stuff that she's been dying to see, so we are going to go do that. And
but we will be back in due time, and
we will.
Be looking forward to seeing you all again. I love the new names tonight.
Yeah,
and the feed. It's great to get those new names in here to kind of join the party as well. If you haven't already, like Rhino said, like the Facebook page, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, all your socials. We're there.
Twitter X, all that good stuff. But with that, thank you guys so much for joining us. And Brunswick, take us the hell out of here.
Yep, I feel like I said everything I needed to say in the last few minutes. So it was nice having you guys tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed the show tonight. With that being said, we'll see you guys all in a couple of weeks when Rhino gets back from his vacation. Skol.
Have a good weekend and a great draft, everybody.